centered interval. And centered interval is a new kind of arithmetic within the Wolfram language. So we obviously had arithmetic like numbers before. For a while, we've had arithmetic with numbers that have uncertainty. So around 3,1 says this is an experimental error. The number is 3, but it's plus or minus 1. And they propagate in an error propagation way. So the expected value of the error isn't the worst case of the two. It's actually basically the square root of 2. What we have with centered interval is something that's like a round, but more like interval, in that it always computes the worst case scenario. So in this trivial case, 3 plus or minus 1, if we have 2 of those, we end up with the worst case is 6 plus or minus 2. So that's obviously very easy to do in your head. But what we've done is we've applied that concept across a really large number of functions. So if, for example, I do sine on a centered interval starting with 3 plus or minus 1, the answer is now much less obvious. It's 0.07 plus or minus 0.83. And in fact, if I turn this up, you'll see that it becomes much more obvious again that centered interval 3 plus or minus 10, well, at some point, sine wave repeats itself. So it's just going to be 0 plus or minus 1. That's the full output range of sine. So what this gives us is a way of doing worst case scenario arithmetic. So if you have provable systems, you are in a world of super reliable systems, you need to ensure that numbers will never exceed some bound, or some function is entirely predictable what its output range could be given certain input ranges, or the sensitivity of systems to inputs. Those things now become very amenable by this arithmetic that will propagate through all of the functions, or many of the functions within a complex equation or set of equations, and tell you what's the propagation of that worst case interval.